top of the world.
40 years ago, we lost Karen Carpenter when she was only 32 years old. Her tragic death shocked the music world and spelled the end of the Carpenters, the music and singing duo she formed with her brother Richard. Her life story may have been short, but it was a full one. And now her brother Richard is speaking out about his sister, with whom he started one of the best duos of their generation. Join Facts First as we present Karen Carpenter's brother speaks out about her tragic death. Karen Ann Carpenter was born March 2, 1950, in New Haven, Connecticut. Her mother was Agnes and her father was Harold, who worked in the printing business. Richard Carpenter is 3 years older than his late sister, and he developed an interest in music at a young age. He took up piano and was considered a young prodigy. He shared his interest with his younger sister Karen, who fell in love with music as quickly as he had. Karen studied ballet and tap dancing and then pursued band classes in high school, mostly to avoid having to participate in sports. Her band's conductor, who also taught her brother, initially gave her a glockenspiel to study, but she didn't care for the instrument and wanted to study drums instead after seeing one of her classmates playing. This classmate was Frankie Chavez, who, though a student, had experience playing drums with Buddy Rich. She became an expert drummer and it became her passion. Frankie Chavez convinced Mr. and Mrs. Carpenter to buy her a drum set. They obliged and she'd practice each day, and she wasn't passionate about anything else. As she got older, she began singing, and she and Richard decided to start a duo. Oddly enough, Karen was very nervous when it came to performing her music and singing songs in public. But there was truly nothing else she was passionate about, and couldn't see herself doing anything but performing. She studied singing under Frank Pooler, who helped build her confidence and improve her singing skills. Upon graduating from high school, she teamed up with Richard to perform their music in public. One of their first collaborations was a local stage performance of the popular musical Guys and Dolls. They loved performing together, and they eventually added Wes Jacobs to their duo and created the band The Dick Carpenter Trio. They performed for about 2 years and even recorded an album that was never released. But in 1967, Wes Jacobs left the band to study music at Juilliard. Karen and Richard were now a duo, and this was the beginning of the Carpenters. We're excited to have Tiege Hanley as the sponsor of today's video. You may be surprised at how much a good skincare routine can change your life and help you maintain healthy, youthful skin. Seriously, I still don't think some of you believe me when I tell you how much implementing a quality skincare routine will improve your confidence in all aspects of your life. Tiege Hanley makes taking care of your skin uncomplicated. They provide you with all the products you need and nothing you don't. I recommend you start with their Level 1 system, which comes with all the basics: a daily face wash, an exfoliating scrub, an AM moisturizer with SPF 20, and a PM moisturizer. And to make it dead simple for guys like us, they provide an instruction card in every box that tells you when to use each product, how much to use, and in what order. It definitely comes in handy. Skincare wasn't always something I took seriously, but now that I have, I wish I would have started sooner. But you don't have to just take my word for it, because they have over 5,000 five-star reviews from customers around the globe. In addition to amazing skin, members of Tiege Hanley get tons of benefits, including at least 20% off the retail price, access to exclusive monthly deals, the freedom to pause or cancel at any time, and free U.S. shipping. And because Tiege Hanley is sponsoring today's video, they're offering my viewers a great deal. Just click the first link in the description and you'll get 30% off your first box, plus a free gift. Don't miss out on this amazing deal. Click that link and get started today. The Carpenters. Richard and Karen began performing together as the Carpenters, and they were signed by A&M Records in 1969. Karen was the drummer and co-vocalist, and she sang the majority of songs from their first album, Offering, which is also known as Ticket to Ride. One of the interesting things about Karen's initial singing career with the Carpenters is that she'd sing her songs while sitting behind her drum set. She was more distant from the front of the stage and felt more confident doing so. She was still painfully shy about performing. However, audiences would complain that they couldn't see her or hear her as well, and that her distance from the front of the stage was less appealing for her overall performance. Eventually, she was convinced that she'd have to join her brother Richard to stand at the front of the stage to perform their songs. Once she did, she became a big star just like Richard. While she may have initially been nervous, her personality shined when she performed. It wasn't long until the Carpenters became one of the most popular musical duos of their generation, and perhaps of all time. In fact, Richard Carpenter recalls that they were practically an overnight success, and their success came very fast. Within a year of their initial performances at local nightclubs, they began performing at big shows on the Las Vegas Strip. Their songs became so popular that they were often performed at weddings and parties across the country. They also performed on popular TV music concerts. And following Karen's death, their musical still remained popular and became part of the soundtrack of many great films. Karen also became more comfortable with her success and fame and her singing. While she often insisted she was primarily a drummer, her singing talents led her to record solo albums, which are still popular to this day. Karen Carpenter's final days. Karen focused a lot on her solo career in the late 70s, when she and Richard began performing less as the Carpenters. This is because Richard unfortunately became addicted to Quaaludes and often had to miss or cancel performances. This helped bring Karen to the spotlight. She was often thought of as having the voice of an angel, and this is what really made her famous. But as with any famous person, there was a lot of attention towards her personal life, and this certainly took its toll on her. After all, she was shy about singing in public. Now imagine having the paparazzi all over her. Karen wasn't exactly prepared for her success as a musician and a singer. It was expected that Richard, who was passionate about music from a young age and was a prodigy, would become a star. But the shy Karen, who was often in her brother's shadow, didn't expect that kind of fame, and she continued to live with her parents until her mid-20s. She had many female celebrity friends who were also great singers, like Dionne Warwick, Olivia Newton-John, and Petula Clark. She was one of the pioneer singers and musicians in an industry dominated by men. Yet, interestingly enough, Karen Carpenter's views on gender roles were rather traditional, and this caught the ire of some. They didn't appreciate that she felt a woman should stay at home to look after her man. In fact, she dreamt of getting married and starting a family of her own. This happened in 1980 when she married real estate developer Thomas Burris and also took care of his stepson from his previous marriage. She still wanted children of her own, but she eventually learned her husband had undergone a vasectomy before their wedding without telling her. This caused a huge issue in their relationship, and they divorced in 1981, only 14 months after getting married. It was also around this time that Karen began experiencing health issues. These were noticeably visible. Karen Carpenter's brother speaks out about her tragic death. Karen Carpenter died February 4, 1983, at age 32. Her funeral was held 4 days later, and yet there was still a bit of a mystery about how she died. A month later, it was determined that the cause of her death was due to anorexia. This came about from years of dieting in an excessive manner. She began dieting while in her teens in an effort to lose weight. She got down to 120 pounds, but was still unhappy with this weight, still feeling fat despite being a healthy weight for her height. She eventually came down to 90 pounds at the height of her career, and this made her feel exhausted a lot more. She wouldn't have the energy to perform, and she often appeared gaunt. To top it off, Richard's addiction to Quaaludes made him have to seek treatment. Both Carpenter's siblings were having health issues, and this made them have to frequently cancel performances. The public began to take notice as well, but nothing was done. Today, 40 years after her passing, Karen Carpenter's brother speaks out. He has stated his sister was a gifted singer and a damn good drummer, and this is what led to her success, both as part of their duo and in her solo career. He continues to perform music and cherishes the time he spent with his sister. Though Karen's life and career were short-lived, her legacy ever endures. And a few years after her death, her life story was made into a film. 40 years later, we're still singing her songs. Now it's time to hear from you. Are you a fan of the Carpenters? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite memory of Karen? Let us know in the comments section below. Don't forget to check out Tish Hanley by clicking the link in the description of the video.